Over 40% of the households within Baltimore City are transit dependent. They do not own cars. And so in some ways that limits their ability to get to jobs, to get to healthcare opportunities, to expand their world beyond their neighborhoods.
Mass transit in Baltimore City tends to be quite slow. So it takes a lot of time to get from point A to point B.
Baltimore's population rate is exploding. If we don't do something in 5 years, it'll just be round-the-clock gridlock.
You can't talk about the Red Line without talking about the regional rail plan. We're trying to be a world-class region. We need world-class transit. The Red Line by itself actually starts that. The Red Line is going from the west side of Baltimore County in Woodlawn, which it hits two major job centers, the Medicare facility and Social Security Administration, and that's in Baltimore County. I-70 Park and Ride corridor, so really kind of connects us to I-70 and parts of 695, and then cuts through a number of residential communities within the city of Baltimore, the western part of the city where you have Hunting Ridge, West Hills, Edmondson Village area, Edmondson Avenue. It goes downtown, into downtown Baltimore. At that point, it will be in a tunnel. Downtown Baltimore, which includes Fells Point, Little Italy, Inner Harbor East. And then it will also come above ground again in Canton and then travel all the way down to Greektown, and then we'll travel into the Bayview Johns Hopkins NIH campus, another huge job center. So, you know, kind of a job center, major job centers at both ends with very important and vital neighborhoods in between. Part of what we were trying to accomplish through the community tours was to expose many people within our region to reality beyond the borders of Baltimore City and Baltimore County. We hope to take them into to Phoenix and to Seattle and to Portland and Los Angeles to see how transit has been beneficial to those communities, how it is a blessing and a benefit as opposed to a hindrance, how it's served in a way to community development and economic development.
I want to talk to other community groups and see how they're dealing with it, what their feelings are, so that way I can relay it to my community, see what their concerns were, and if there were any concerns, hopefully we can avoid them, or at least be prepared for them.
What are the great points and what are some of the points that need to be improved in terms of not only the transit system itself, but also how beneficial and how economically it has increased the financial wealth of their community as well.
We're going to be looking at some red line or some transit systems in other states that it will allow me to begin to develop questions about just what may happen in our particular situation.
How they started their system and what problems did they have so that we won't make those same mistakes? How did it help with jobs in the community? How did it help with the development of the communities as a whole to, you know, help with new housing and different problems that's going on in the communities?
I think I'm going to look for the design of the system, how fast the system is, how convenient it is to get in and out of wherever you're traveling around the city itself, the beautification, how it's integrated in the surrounding area, the streets, the way it blends in with the community as a whole.
One of the concerns is that, you know, if you build it, it will rip apart our community, and obviously a lot of that comes from past experiences. There is, unfortunately, the most recent history that people have as it relates to some of the major infrastructure projects here are around the quote-unquote highway to nowhere and the existing light rail and what it did, the part it played to the disinvestment on Howard Street.
They are very fearful that they're going to lose their front yards. That's if they go above ground, and they're also fearful if they go underground that it's going to disrupt the foundations of their properties. So there, on both hands, I find that people are pretty nervous about the whole situation, and they're nervous too that all of their worries and their cries are going to fall on deaf ears.
I lived through the road to nowhere where the people were devastated and they haven't recovered. So we need to have something that will give them hope, and I think the Red Line is part of what we need as a stimulus to the people in the community to help them come up out of that place where they've been for so long and look forward to a future.
The most important lesson is that we were part of all the decision making, that nothing went before the Board of MTA without community input. And whenever there was something that was not exactly what we needed in the community, we made sure we were at the MTA meetings. And that's what's important, to attend those MTA meetings so that nothing can pass.
When you first start off, none of them believe it's going to happen. Oh, you mean you're really going to build that? So we took a very proactive role. We had Metro hire public involvement staff years before. I mean, when we were very early in design, to start establishing those relationships with the community.
Getting your citizens involved early is very helpful. Yes, there will always be the folks who are not going to want light rail or public transit or anything like that. But also try to get the folks involved who live in the neighborhoods and work in the neighborhoods, but also the ones who are interested in helping the project become a better project.
So you really have to be creative on how you get to the people.
So we did mail-outs, door hangers, presentations, one-on-ones, and email blasts. So we really did partner up with not just our cities, but also some of the nonprofit agencies, as well as some of the chamber or business organizations to get our messages out.
We knocked on every door of every resident and every business along the alignment and talked to people and brought them out and said, we want your input in this project.
I really like about how things are moving forward with the Red Line is that it is truly revolutionary in terms of our approach at planning. We're talking about the shovel kind of hitting the ground in 2012, 2013. It's 2008, and we're having real in-depth conversations with community members. The city, MTA, and MDOT there's been constant communication. All of them are weighing in early. They're weighing in and saying what they want and what they don't want, how it will benefit their community and how it could harm their community, so that what gets built is in the best interest of everyone involved.
Small businesses are the backbone of this country. They employ 97% of the workforce. They are slow to hire, and they're even slower to lay people off. The owners of small businesses will take their paycheck last. They're not the people that are skimming the big profits off the top and then laying people off. And, you know, they invest in their communities. They contribute to their local tax base. They care. And they're a huge part of our economy. And just from a basic business standpoint, a basic economic standpoint, we cannot afford to ignore these businesses.
The biggest thing that we learned was how important it is to be sensitive to the needs of businesses located along the alignment.
There were fears that, okay, well, I am here now. I have a business here now, and during the construction, you'll destroy my business. And fortunately, the transit tours helped to alleviate some of those concerns as well, because we saw how to do it and do it right.
Going forward, we're going to be providing a very strong business technical assistance program to help businesses now respond to this changed environment.